Hello chess fans, in today's video I want to share a game I played against a 2298 FM. I was playing the white pieces and my opponent was playing the black pieces, but I decided I wanted to show it from the black pieces perspective because my opponent managed to just crush me in just 16 moves in the French defense Tarrasch variation, and they played a very nice opening novelty, somewhat opening novelty that I've never seen before and I think is very dangerous at practical levels of play. So my opponent I played e4, e6, d4, d5, and knight d2. The idea of knight d2 is after knight c3, we get hit by bishop e4. But knight d2 has the downside of it makes c5 a strong move because the knight would be on c3 pressuring d5, and now the knight is no longer pressuring d5. But granted, black has two main lines here, which is either to do this, knight f6, or c5, both attacking the center. But my opponent played a very interesting, almost opening novelty that is highly venomous and extremely dangerous for the white pieces. They played the move e5. And at first this move seemed just like a very bad move as it does blunder a pawn. And I ended up going for the blunder of a pawn in the game. But surprisingly enough, I looked at it with the engine after and it doesn't actually blunder a pawn. Apparently, the line I went for is very close to equal, and my opponent just managed to beat me in just 16 moves. So I took the pawn. If I were to defend the pawns like this, my opponent I think has a pleasant game after takes in c5, and here black has a decent amount of space. And after e takes, if I take here, this is just the engine line, but it seems like we're going to get a boring position anyways, and from this position black has won every game. Not to mention, after e5 in the database, black has also won every single game at the master level, which shows that this is a very, very dangerous weapon. There's even a 2600 who has lost to a 2400 in this opening. But alright, I played dxe5, and after dxe5, I decided to go for, I think, what's the most natural move, what you'll see in 90% of the games if you play this, which is knight takes e4. And this just wins a pawn. As you can see, white is up a pawn. But what does black get in return? Black gets to trade queens and get the king uncastled. And at first, this might look like, black is just up a pawn, down a pawn. They have no compensation. White even has more development with the knight here. But you're going to be surprised to see this game just lasted 10 more moves and my opponent checkmated me, which is something I was completely not expecting. And my opponent started off with knight c6, developing a piece, attacking this. After knight f3, I was afraid of bishop g4, and I don't think there's a way to protect this pawn. For example, I could play bishop f4, but this looked a little bit passive to me, making all my pieces defend here. And actually, the engine already likes black after a plan like knight g7, knight g6, maybe followed by castles first. So I decided to go f4. And f4 pretty much, defending this with a pawn, I'm not going to lose this pawn anytime soon. So my opponent decided to play the best move, which is f6. Just immediately attacking this. And I think I played the most natural move here again, which is just e takes here. And this is actually another mistake, and at this point, the position is very close to equal, but I think I already prefer black because the combined threats of bishop g4, castles queenside, the bishop coming in somewhere here, black is just already has a very pleasant position. The better move is knight f3, but after, let's say, bishop g4, c3 takes here, white is significantly better, but black has pretty much no problems. White just has a little bit more development, but we're in an endgame, so after here, king c2, the engine really likes white, but I'm not sure how easy it is to prove that white is better here. Like, yes, they do have development, but does development really matter so much in the endgame? But e takes f6 is a very natural move, and it's actually just bad. So after my opponent played knight takes f6, and here I think the most natural thing is to give my opponent a weakness on the G and H file, ruin their structure, and also trade pieces because I'm up material. And then here I went bishop e3, and the idea is I wanted to clear the square for my king here, and also if I develop any of the kingside pieces, I'm not so sure how I'm going to meet this move. For example, if I play knight f3, bishop g4, bishop e2, let's say, after castles, and like let's say king e1, which would be a blunder, black is already winning because of knight b4, and that's why your king really should not be stuck in the center. So I play bishop e3 instead, and the idea is that I want to keep flexible on how to meet bishop g4, and also I have king c1. So my opponent played bishop g4, and here I really should have gone bishop e2, but what I was scared of is that after castles here, I thought knight b4 was a similar thing, But yeah, here I didn't realize that the g4 bishop was hanging. But after bishop takes e2, knight takes e2, knight b4, this looked bad to me for similar reasons, but rook c1, knight takes a2 would be the only way to defend. But I don't really feel like much humans are going to play this because we did just give back our pawn, and I thought I was just winning a pawn. So instead I played king c1. And in this position, black is already better, as you can see by the bar on the side of the board. So my opponent castles, which threatens here with mate. And don't worry, I didn't blunder that mate. So I play knight f3. Notice, if I play bishop e2, I think there's problems with the lineup here. So my opponent could play something like takes, and bishop d6. And after rook e8, I think I'm just dead lost because there's really no way to defend all these threats. And my rook is just out of the game. Alright, so instead of that, I played knight f3 and my opponent played bishop b4. Now bishop b4 is not a very good move according to the engine, but bishop b4 has a threat that I actually did not notice. And the threat was that in some positions they can go here and here, which just didn't occur to me at all. And here what I should really do is play bishop d3, after which I think the position is roughly equal because my rook is out of the game, but I am up a pawn. But instead I played a3, asking a question to that bishop. And if the bishop goes back anywhere, I've just got a3 for free. So they shouldn't do that. Instead they played this strong move, rook he8. And here, see what you would play as white. Because in the game I made a huge blunder, and it's not easy to see what to do for white. So here I think the best course of action is to take the bishop. And after rook takes e3, we play bishop d3, knight takes b4. And here we have to play the absolute ludicrous move that I didn't spot in the game. At this point, I thought that white was just losing. But the engine points out, bishop takes h7, grabbing another pawn when all the black pieces are eyeing all your pieces. Apparently, this was okay for white, and white could survive here. Rook takes a7 was what I calculated, but I calculated that after this, I was in a lot of trouble. So instead, I went bishop f2, which is, as you can see by the engine, is a blunder, but I think a natural move. And what I had missed is that what I thought was going to happen is he was going to go here, I could go bishop d3, check, and then I could run my king like this. But as you can see, the engine has found it on depth 22. Bishop e1, a stunning move, and I completely missed this move. And the idea is the back rank is just extremely weak here, and they have to get rid of the one defender. And so here what I should do is go bishop g1, and after bishop h4, I'm actually just losing a piece because there's no way to defend against both those types of mates. For example, the knight, right now what I'm threatening is to take, and then go checkmate. So if the knight moves anywhere, then I would have rook d1 mate. Unless the knight goes to d4, which then I would have check. I think actually no, knight d4 I would just pick up a piece. And if knight d2, I have checkmate. So no matter what, I'm losing a piece here. So instead I played bishop takes e1. And for some reason, the only move that I had calculated, which is very funny, was bishop takes f3. And then I calculated that I have bishop d3, saving myself. Because I thought, well, because the knight's defending the bishop, right? But the knight isn't defending the bishop. My opponent played rook takes e1. Boom! And here I resign the game because if I take, he has mate. And so this is my opponent crushing me in just 16 moves with what I think is not that bad a gambit. Now let's go back for a second because Tarrasch players might be wondering, whoa, I'm scared of this. I need to know what's the best way to play against this. Well, the best way is with d takes, but after e takes here, we're not going to take the pawn. The pawn is very dangerous to take, probably equal. We're going to play bishop b5 check. And after c6, bishop c4, white is seemingly getting a better structure here. Black's best move is to go here, but after takes and knight takes, white should be significantly better with the weakened pawn here. And they can play castles after knight e2 and be significantly better. So that's the end of today's video, guys. If you liked the video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe. And tell me how you go with this type of opening because I feel like this is a really interesting weapon against the Tarrasch French. I'll see you in the next one.